Spring classes start soon at University of Maryland University College. Visit umuc.edu.
Tonight, several developing headlines as we come on the air. Late today, the parents before the judge, the father in chains. Investigators before the cameras revealing what we did not know. Chilling allegations of abuse now emerging tonight. Authorities say the children forced to sleep all day and stay up all night. Not allowed to shower more than once a year. And how they pulled off the escape. Also tonight, will the government shut down tomorrow? Has the president undermined efforts by his own party to come up with a deal? And his chief of staff saying some of what the president promised on the campaign trail, the president has now evolved on. What the president has to say about that. Also tonight, will Hope Hicks, one of the president's closest advisors, testify before the House Intelligence Committee tomorrow? Or has there been an 11th hour holdup? The alleged serial killer under arrest tonight, accused of killing at least 9 people in just 3 weeks. Dangerous driving, the death toll rising tonight, snow, ice, and freezing rain, and the tow truck operator jumping to safety. And the deadly flu, and questions about this 12-year-old boy who was rushed to urgent care. How accurate is that rapid flu test?
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night, and we begin with those horrifying new details from that California home. 13 siblings allegedly held captive there by their parents. Tonight here, our first look at those parents, David and Louise Turpin, in court facing charges late today, pleading not guilty. And prosecutors with a new description of the gruesome conditions in which the siblings lived. Allegedly starved, shackled, beaten, and tortured, and investigators say allowed to bathe just once a year. And tonight, the daughter who planned the escape, that plan in the works for 2 years. ABC's Matt Gutman leading us off.
Tonight, the man prosecutors portray as a monster is in chains. David and his wife Louise Turpin pleading not guilty, accused of a combined 75 counts of systematically torturing, abusing, and imprisoning their 13 children for decades.
This is depraved conduct.
Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron tonight revealing that for 2 years, the children plotted their escape from the horrors inflicted upon them.
This is severe, emotional, physical abuse. There's no way around that.
Hestron detailing decades of unimaginable punishment that intensified as the years went on.
They began to be tied up. First with ropes. One victim at one point was tied up and hogtied. These defendants eventually began using chains and padlocks to chain up the victims to their beds.
The children allegedly tied or shackled for weeks or months at a time and starved. The deprivation so severe, the eldest daughter, aged 29, weighed just 82 pounds. And officials say their parents would taunt them.
They would buy food, including pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies, leave it on the counter, let the children look at it, but not eat the food.
Instead, the children were fed a steady diet of cruelty. These pictures show one of their Texas homes years ago. Grime smeared on the stairwells, human filth on the floors. The district attorney saying the children were allowed to bathe only once a year. Police are removing evidence from their California home, recovering hundreds of journals written by the children.
I think those journals are going to be strong evidence of what occurred in that home.
The family allegedly keeping vampire hours, and that may have aided the Turpins in keeping the 13 siblings in near complete isolation.
The children lack a basic knowledge of life. Many of the children didn't know what a police officer was.
And tonight we're learning that 17-year-old girl who called 911 didn't act alone.
She escaped through a window and took one of her siblings with her. That sibling eventually turned back, became frightened and turned back.
Now all of the children said to be, quote, relieved and in good hands.
This is also difficult to believe. Matt Gutman back with us from outside the courthouse tonight. And Matt, those children now getting much needed medical care, as you've been reporting here. But the DA did say today that they have suffered cognitive damage.
That's right, David, and because some of them have suffered that neurological damage from so many years of starvation, and because their isolation kept them so out of the world that many of them didn't even know what medicine was, the state may have to retain control of all 13 of those kids. And as they try to rebuild their lives, their parents face up to life in prison if convicted. David.
All right, Matt Gubin tonight. Matt, thanks. We turn next year to the countdown to a possible government shutdown tomorrow. Republicans trying to pass a temporary measure to keep the lights on, but has the president undermined the effort? President Trump sending mixed messages himself. Democrats have demanded a deal on Dreamers must be a part of any plan to avert the shutdown. And who will pay the political price if this shutdown happens? ABC's Mary Bruce back up on the Hill tonight.
Just over 24 hours to go, no solution in sight, and the president says a government shutdown is possible.
Could happen. We'll see what happens. It's up to the Democrats.
But it was the president this morning who seemed to upend his own party's strategy to keep the government open. Hoping to get Democrats on board with a short-term funding fix, Republicans are pushing a plan that also extends the Children's Health Insurance Program, known as CHIP, for 6 years. But Trump seemed to contradict that plan with this tweet. CHIP should be part of a long-term solution, not a 30-day or short-term extension.
I couldn't figure out what he meant by his tweet.
For the second time in 2 weeks, House Speaker Paul Ryan found himself on the phone with the president, explaining the party's position.
Are you confident the president understands the proposal that's actually on the table here?
I think he does now.
The White House then releasing a statement saying the president supports the GOP plan. But Democrats aren't sold.
This is like giving you a bowl of doggy-doo, put a cherry on top and call it a chocolate sundae.
Democrats are demanding any spending deal include action to protect Dreamers, those 800,000 undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. There is a bipartisan proposal on the table, but the president has rejected it.
Are you confident that you're clear on what the president would and would not support?
The president is clearly giving legislators room to negotiate, but he wants a balanced deal.
Negotiations now continue. Republican Lindsey Graham today with this message to the president.
You need to be a street fighter in many ways to clean up Washington, but you also need to be the president of all of us. There's a time to fight, and there's a time to deal. It is now time to deal.
The senator talking to the president through television, which he often does. Mary Bruce live on the Hill tonight. And Mary, Republicans are pushing, but Senate Democrats say they have enough votes to force a government shutdown unless they can make a deal on the Dreamers here.
David, House Republicans are hoping they have the votes to pass this funding bill tonight. They want to turn up the pressure on Senate Democrats, daring them to shut down the government. But I'm told Senate Democrats are standing firm. Without a deal on Dreamers, they will not support this temporary bill to keep the government open.
All right,
David?
Mary Bruce, a long night ahead. Mary, our thanks to you. President Trump, meantime, tweeting a forceful defense of his views on immigration today after his own chief of staff, John Kelly, went on the record going on Fox News saying some of the president's views during the campaign were, quote, evolving now. And tonight, word one of President Trump's closest advisors, Hope Hicks, will not appear before the House Intelligence Committee tomorrow, as had been expected. So what happened? ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega with late developments tonight.
In Pennsylvania today, President Trump had nothing but praise for his chief of staff.
He's great. I think he's doing a great job. I think General Kelly has done a really great job. He is a very special guy.
That after John Kelly committed one of the cardinal sins of a Trump confidant by seeming to undercut his boss's signature campaign promise.
On day one, we will begin working on an impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall. It's a real wall. This is a wall that's a heck of a lot higher than the ceiling you're looking at.
But behind closed doors in a meeting with Congressional Hispanic Caucus members, sources tell ABC News Kelly said the president wasn't fully informed during the campaign, adding that he educated President Trump that a physical wall from sea to shining sea wasn't necessary.
He has evolved in the way he's looked at things. Campaign to governing are two different things.
On Twitter, the president fired off, openly contradicting his right-hand man. The wall is the wall. It has never changed or evolved from the first day I conceived of it.
Who's going to pay for the wall?
Kelly seemed unsure about that.
In one way or another, it's possible that we could get the revenue from Mexico, but not directly from their government.
The president's response? The wall will be paid for directly or indirectly or through longer-term reimbursement by Mexico. Kelly, not the only member of the president's inner circle in the spotlight tonight. White House Communications Director Hope Hicks expected to testify in the congressional Russia probe, but late today her Capitol Hill appearance delayed over negotiations about whether she will invoke executive privilege. It comes the same week that President Trump's former chief strategist Steve Bannon asserted executive privilege, refusing to answer questions about the transition or his time at the White House.
Did the White House tell him to invoke executive privilege? No.
Steve has had very, very little contact with the White House since he left.
And Cecilia Vega with us live tonight from the White House. Cecilia, we just heard from John Kelly on this issue of executive privilege. But the top Democrat on that committee said Steve Bannon's lawyer did call the White House for guidance on several occasions.
He did, David, and we are also learning more about what Steve Bannon told those congressional investigators about that now infamous Trump Tower meeting with Don Jr., Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and of course that Russian lawyer. Bannon, behind closed doors, called that meeting unpatriotic, privately acknowledging what he said in that book, Fire and Fury. He had publicly tried to distance himself from it, but David, he now says that he was only referring to Manafort and not the president's family.
All right, Cecilia Vega with more on Steve Bannon's testimony. Cecilia, thank you. Next tonight, Phoenix police arresting a man for the murder of his mother and stepfather. Their investigation, in fact, uncovering a suspected serial killer. In fact, tonight, police say that suspect is now linked to 9 murders in just 3 weeks. And they want to know now, were there more? ABC's Kana Whitworth from Phoenix tonight.
Tonight, authorities say they've nabbed the man behind a spate of killings.
9 deaths, 3 weeks.
It was this Phoenix crime scene that led police to Cleophas Cooksey. Police say when they arrived at this apartment complex, they found Cooksey bloodied, his mother and her husband shot to death. Authorities arrested Cooksey, eventually police connecting him to 7 more deaths.
There is also other physical evidence, in addition to ballistic evidence, that ties all of these scenes together.
Police say the bloodshed started in late November. In the following weeks, 5 more people shot, one of them believed to be sexually assaulted. In the end, 7 men and 2 women killed, all within 30 miles. Some of the victims allegedly known to the suspect, others with no known connection. Police confirming the suspect is the man seen here in videos posted on YouTube, rapping in this one about killing.
Do you believe that there's possibly more victims out there?
You know, I do believe that. I do believe that it's a distinct possibility.
David, the suspect made statements to authorities that implicate him to some of these crimes, at least to some level. They also say that they have a motive for some of these murders, including sex, money, and drugs. David?
All right, Kana Whitworth live in Phoenix. Kana, thanks. Next tonight, that deadly winter storm from the south all the way up to the northeast. At least 15 lives lost from the snow and then the deep freeze that followed. The driving has been treacherous. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami again tonight.
Here's how icy the roads are. As far south as Tampa today, a highway worker is seen here slipping on the ice. The expressway had to be closed. Michigan State Police are warning drivers tonight to slow down with this alarming video. They were responding to a wreck on the ice when this happened. No one here was hurt, but already this week, 15 people have died on icy roads. Most of them in the south, where there are fewer snowplows or salt trucks. This driver was lucky he walked away.
When I hit the ice, I knew it was done.
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
South of Atlanta, a salt truck driver died today, hit by this freight train on his way back to the salt yard. In North Carolina, they report more than 2,300 crashes. And at the airports, hundreds of weather delays in Raleigh, Charlotte, and Atlanta. Take a look. This is a road in Atlanta where the drivers here couldn't get past the ice. They're here now trying to set their bumper cars free. The road is closed tonight. David?
Wow, what a scene. Steve, thank you. Next tonight to the emotional moments in court at the sentencing of that former USA gymnastics team doctor, Larry Nassar, then complaining to the judge. He said after so many victims addressed him in court, saying it was, quote, detrimental to his mental health. Well, what the judge had to say about that. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis tonight.
For 3 days now, more than 80 women have unleashed an onslaught of emotions directed at Larry Nassar.
The life has literally been sucked out of me.
Today, even the judge took aim, dismissing a letter from Nassar to the court expressing concern about his mental ability to hear from all these accusers.
Spending 4 or 5 days listening to them is significantly minor, considering the hours of pleasure you had at their expense.
More than 150 women have accused the former doctor for the USA Gymnastics team and Michigan State University of sexual abuse.
Your days